Live, but I forgot to, I couldn't put the title. I guess that will be okay. Okay.
Let's see, I don't see you yet. Oh yeah, yep, I see you.
Ooh, it worked.
We are live.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I know one person at least, he was messaging me, Sudhir. He was trying to get online. So okay. All right, so we are back. And for anyone else who has missed our previous sessions, we are reading through this book, The Art of Intimacy and Hidden Challenge of Shame by Vernon Kelly. So, last week, let's just summarize what we did last week. Last week, we talked about 4 scenarios in which shame showed up and affected intimacy. The intimacy between a couple, one couple was, he was finding himself getting angry at his wife. Another one was attacking. She had a good relationship before, but then lately she kept thinking, is there something bad with me? Why my husband doesn't take enough interest in me? And she was blaming herself. And then there was another couple in which the lady found herself withdrawing from relationship. And the 4th relationship was in which the person took up to drinking. And the author was making this point that in all relationship, it's actually shame. It's actually shame. And we have 4 defense. What was the word you used? Defense?
Defenses against shame.
Yeah. Defense.
So defenses meaning when we feel shame is so quick that we don't even know we're feeling shame. That's one of the big problems. So then we just go either to get angry at somebody else or to run away ourselves or to feel guilty about what we just did or to forget or deny what's going on. So these mechanisms are really not the primary feeling. The primary affect of feeling is shame.
Okay.
All right? And so because it's so quick and so big and so profound, we immediately go into action. That's why they call defenses. We rather do that than feel the shame.
So our idea is to understand this shame a little more.
Mm-hmm.
What is really happening. Is that's the journey we are on?
Right.
Okay. Now, then in the next chapter, he talks about that why shame is triggered. Can you speak on that? What is happening? Why do we get shame?
Okay. So we'll talk about it again a little later on how shame is an affect, meaning it is wired at birth. And we're going to talk about the 9 affects in a moment, but shame is one of them. We are born with shame as one of the affects, and what happens is that shame appears in different ways when interest and joy is interrupted. So that's basically the definition. So if one feels very angry, or feels like beating yourself up and saying what's wrong with me, or withdrawing or doing any of these defenses, if one asks, if we ask ourselves what was happening before I felt this, and you see that you were doing something and you were happy and something got interrupted, the finger really points at shame as, oh, I must have been a moment of shame. So that's how I identify when I feel shame, because something actually interrupted my well-being.
I had little problem with that definition of shame, that saying that my interest got interrupted, and then whatever happened, let's call that shame, right? I mean, we can use whatever word we can. Words are immaterial, but if we are using the word shame for that feeling that happens when my interest gets interrupted, I thought, the shame word is used for one of the defense mechanisms. We talked about 4 defense mechanisms: attacking other, attacking self, withdrawing, and denial. So, in my mind, shame is always self-pity. Attacking self. I am bad. Something happened to me. I am worthless. That's all shame. I'm embarrassed.
That's a defense against shame.
So now
we actually the shame is so quick. We go into the defense mechanism instead of staying with the sensations. Does that make sense? When you start saying, I am worthless, you already left sensation. Now you are interpreting with your mind whatever you're feeling. And you're concluding and interpreting, and you left the original feeling to begin with.
Okay. So let's talk about what are these original feelings.
So that's the listen. I've been at it for the past 15 years to discover what's the original feeling. So the original feeling are actually not thoughts but sensations in the body, and in me, because I had a childhood that was full of shame from my parents, I feel it in a very high volume, Some other people don't. So people feel shame in different ways, which is a good thing, depending maybe on how much they were shame and how much shame history one carries, right? So that complicates a little bit the issue. But I feel it like burning in my chest. I feel it like my face gets all red. I feel like crying. I feel like a hand grabs my throat. I have that pressure on my throat. So all of those sensations. And before I knew any better, before I kind of got to have Mary Abrams was the one that discovered when I went to one of her classes, and she asked how is people feeling, and I started crying. I said, I feel horrible. I'm so angry. I had a conversation with a person, and this person attacked me, and I can't speak, and blah, blah. And she asked me very simply, what were you doing before you had that conversation? Oh, I was having a great time. I was listening to music. I was good. So she said, oh, that's shame you're feeling. And that click, it was like, oh. And then I saw in a movie all the interactions with the different people in my life where I felt the same way. I was feeling fine. And then something came that interrupted that feeling. And then produced those sensations, which are a script, came forward in my body. And so when they came forward, I either left it, I withdrew, and I had the same attack myself. What's wrong with me? I can't speak. I can't do anything. I am worthless. I'm nobody. All of that came to my mind, which is not a happy thinking, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I have learned to do in these 15 years, which is amazingly saving my life, is to be able just to stay with my sensations. without going into interpretation.
They're going to any of these sports.
No. Saying, oh, so I recognize it. Oh, this is my script that's coming up for me again. But instead of blaming it on the other person or attacking the other person or feeling that I'm worthless and I'm bad and I'm terrible, or that I'll never see that person again, I stay and I massage myself and I'm curious about, oh, what are you sensing, Christina? And I touch myself, I touch my head, I kind of, massage my head, because this will pass. If I pay attention to this, these feelings will pass. And then they're digested, and then there is nothing to attack or nothing to attack myself for. So I don't have to go to a defense mechanism anymore if I stay with my sensations until I can choose my action instead of being driven or pushed into something because of the power of the shame.
It's like, are you saying that your cognitive mind is taking over your affect system?
The mind, because this is what we learn from Gary and Mary Abrams, who are my shame teachers, thank God, is that when we are when we cannot handle our sensations, we start thinking and interpreting things, trying to make sense of something, and usually all that we do is wrong. For years and years and years, my message is, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm nobody, I can't handle this, right? So how many years are we gonna repeat this? That doesn't solve the problem anyway, right? What is solving the problem for me now is just being with my sensations and understanding that these are sensations, and if I pay attention to them with interest and I massage myself, they will pass, just like a headache or a stomach ache. So the ability to hold these sensations without thinking, without interpreting what's going on, has helped me a lot. Because now I don't feel that I'm a bad person or that I am a bad person because I have those feelings. And if people are interested, and I don't know, lately, last week, there was a big celebration in Oslo for the Nobel Prize. And one of, the Patti Smith, one of the great singers of America, went to sing to the Nobel Prize audience. And she got, in the middle of the song, she got an attack of shame. And she stopped. And if people are interested in seeing, I mean, that was amazing to me how gracefully she did. She said, "Gee, I am so sorry. I'm very nervous." Right? And then she went on. And then she wrote an article on the Washington Post about what happened to her, saying that was a terrible attack. She didn't know, couldn't call it shame, but obviously that's what it was. And if you are interested, I could send you the link if you have people that you could send the link, or people can go to Patti Smith recital Oslo, and it's like a 5-minute video.
Okay, I'm just doing it. We can put it in the comments of this video.
Right.
Smith, and then what else?
Patti Smith, Oslo, Nobel Prize song, I guess.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So, you said she was graceful because she just handled it honestly.
I mean, she could have left the room, she could have cried and stopped singing, right? How many things will you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you are in one of the most important places in the world, right? And the amazing thing that happened, if you see that, when she said, "I'm so sorry, I'm so nervous," everybody applauded. Because one of the things that happen when we have shame is we don't want people to see us anymore. Our head goes down, right? We can't. We want to disappear. But what she did was very helpful. She named what she was. She didn't know the name, but that was very graceful. She didn't fall into the compass of shame, even though her body, as she explained later in the article, was feeling like an attack of, full of nerves. I can't remember her exact words, but it's like I described before, burning this, you feel terrible inside your body. But she had the presence to stay, right? And to sing again. She got the applause of people, which in a way, one of the things that happen or that could happen with shame is if you are in the presence of somebody who loves you and doesn't judge you, it dissolves the shame. So she got the benefit of, I don't know how many people were there, but probably more than 300 or 400 people applauding her. Just because of what she said. And she's like 70 years old, so she was not a young singer.
I see one of the points you made it before, but let me just read that through. It says the evolved function of shame effect is to give us information that some impediment has gotten in the way of our experiencing interest or enjoyment.
Yeah.
So you are saying exploring at the silent level, exploring at the sensational level, explore it at the more concrete level. What has really happened? What has obstructed my enjoyment? And how can I get back to that?
If you want, I mean, that's if you want to understand it, yeah. I mean, for me, I go immediately there when I feel that. I know that I was in an okay mood, and what is going on that is I'm at the moment what's interrupting my well-being right now, and it becomes obvious.
Okay. Now, can we? You have something else in mind, or can we move to? Can you explain what these affects are and what is their importance and what is?
Okay, so we can do that. So why are we talking about shame? It may be helpful to put it in context. So just to make it short, the body, when we are born, we have the brain, or the whole body system has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 systems. Okay, we operate in this world with the pain system. Okay, is like a subroutine running in a computer. It's the pain is very helpful because it helps us to react. If you didn't feel pain, then maybe you'll die soon, right? Because you don't pay attention to the pain. And then maybe you have, I don't know, an infection, and you have no idea. So
Right.
the pain is a very helpful thing to have. So we have that system, right? Which is, look, the whole thing is our body main only purpose is to survive.
Mm.
Okay? That's it. About anything. So we are here with a system that helps our body survive. That's the survival instinct is the topmost thing that we have. So all of this is around how, how the brilliant of, okay, I need to survive, so pain will help me. Does that make sense?
Yes. So it basically calls for attention wherever attention is needed.
Exactly. Exactly. So we are here trying to move forward, eat, and survive the way we can. And these systems help us survive.
Yeah.
Hopefully at the best way possible, right?
Mm.
So then we have the drive system that, like the hunger, right? If we weren't hungry, I guess we'll starve to death. Or
Right.
thirsty, or, sex drive. All of those are drives to procreate, to survive. Make sense?
Yeah.
And then there is the cognitive system. We need to know where did I leave my glasses?
Mm.
Huh?
Mm.
So how do I learn math? 1 + 1 is 2. It's a cognitive system.
Mm.
Okay, it's the rational brain. We need that too, as humans.
Yeah. To understand things.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there is the affect system.
Yeah.
Okay? That, so the affects are 9 and they're wired onto us. 2 positive aspects, interest and joy. Interest to excitement and enjoyment to joy. Those are the 2 positive ones that we have. The others, one is a neutral affect, which is surprise. And it's an important affect because in trauma, if you're not startled or surprised, maybe the tiger will come and eat you up because or if you hear a noise, right, you turn your head to see where the enemy is coming, right? So it's again, it's neither good or bad, but that's startle. And then we have fear, distress, anger, disgust, dismay, and shame. So all of those affects, and the word affect, it's really not understood by most people. So we could put it feelings are, even though Gary Davey will beat me up if he hears this, but anyway. So all these affect, all these so-called negative affects, not because they're bad, it's because they don't feel good, but they all, like pain, helps us in finding out what's stopping my interest and my joy. Because they all give you information.
But here we have distress and anguish, which is similar to like pain system, right? Distress is pain.
Yeah. It begins in distress, and the worst case, and if it keeps on going, you are anguished if nothing happens. So it's all in a continuum. your fear, and if nothing happens, it becomes terror, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay. So in the same family, there exists shame, whose job is to give us information for our healthy survival.
Exactly.
Healthy living, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then what happens typically is we don't hear the information, and we go to that we start defending against that.
Perfectly put. The problem with the world, because it's such a powerful emotion, right, is that we go into the defense of it and we don't hear the information. And look at what happens in the world. I was reading the other day in the paper what happened in Pakistan, which I guess happens a lot. They found teenage girls in a room with boys listening to music. And it was, one cell phone videotape. And because of shame, because of family shame, the imam ordered them dead. All right? So the family killed them, the girls and the boys. And so one of the family members of the one brother of the boy is it's been 6 years in the court system. So look at the extent that we go into the defense mechanism of this.
Yeah.
And most of the wars are over this, right?
Yeah.
Like here this morning in the news, this was funny, a Chinese, it seems that 5 Chinese boats surrounded another boat, an American boat, and took a missile or a drone from the boat.
Yeah.
So some people in the political world say, that's terrible, let's go and do something. Let's attack them, right?
Yeah.
Now, our president-elect Donald Trump tweeted, let them keep the damn thing. What is that? Deny. They didn't do anything. Other people, it's shame on us, right? We allow this to happen. So you see the whole variety of things playing on a national level.
But if, say Donald Trump had processed the shame fully, he would have to still respond to something, right? He can't all the...
Oh, he will respond, but he will respond not from a defense. About one thing, if you're the president, you better be a little bit more informed, because if I'm going to respond, and this is the danger of having people in leaderships that are not self-conscious, right? Because you could respond from a personal level, forget it, let them keep it. But a country has policies that are, if you do that, I don't know, I'm not a politician, so what would I think? But if other countries say, look, they went and they stole a drone from a ship, the United States can defend themselves, so, let's go and do things. Huh? I mean, there are one thing you need to. Then it comes when the rational mind and a policy takes place, and you have to kind of. It would be better to say it was my response to shame, but let me ask for some help about what the policy will be for America dealing with the Chinese, right? Because every action on an international level has very dangerous repercussions, especially with nuclear weapons. Make sense?
Yeah. So the cognitive mind also has its place to
Oh, it has a very important place. Otherwise, ask the Alzheimer people. When you lose that, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It has a very important, if I go buy something, I am always grateful to my elementary school math teachers that I know how much change I get. And I know how to multiply, right?
Yeah.
But if we use it instead of, we use it to explain away our sensations, then you have chaos.
How is that? Explain
Like Trump saying, keep the stupid drone, right? The next time some other country steals something, well, keep it. I don't know. I mean, a whole chaos can come out of out of that.
Right.
Or when I say to myself, I am no good, I'm nothing. That's a terrible thing to say about yourself. That kills you in this planet. And how many of us are always talking negative about ourselves? This self-talk is poison. It diminishes our joy, our interest, our power, our happiness, everything. And the studies at a university said we have like 200 bad things for one good thing that we say to ourselves. How many of us wake up with a voice that says, you are a wonderful person. You are amazing. Let me give you a hug from the universe. How many of us wake up with that? So what happened? We are shamed inside and out.
So the takeaway from the whole thing is really to get to the sensations of shame. And then also, correct me if I'm wrong, also to figure out what interrupted. That's at the cognitive level.
Yeah.
Interrupted.
Yeah, so that you slowly get to understand, like I got to understand, oh, it's not that I'm a bad person, it's just that I got interrupted.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So that made my self-esteem bigger. Now I wake up every morning, look at the mirror and say, you're amazing. And put a candle to myself. Does that make sense? Because it eliminated a lot of the stupid talk. Because I thought when I was in that moment that it was my fault that I couldn't protect myself or defend myself in this attack. Until I understood this is automatic. It happens because I have that script that is in my body since childhood. And it happens because I got interrupted. And so there's nothing wrong with me to begin with. So let me not just make it bigger than it is. And if I don't know what to do at that moment, there were many times I didn't know, what to do at that moment. I could always take a pause and say, excuse me, I need a break for a few minutes and just take some time for myself. Call somebody who knows about this for help before I react. Make sense?
Yeah. Also, what I'm thinking is, I get this question, I keep handling that question, that should I respond to what my feeling is, or should I respond to it from my cognitive mind on what I know, right? What I know may not be what I feel, right? What I know is I should do this. What I feel is something else to do.
Well, I mean, I started all the time. I am thank God for my cognitive mind and what I know, because I knew that what I wanted is to beat myself up or to withdraw, like I did all the time. And I knew this is my defense mechanism. And then it took commitment. Okay? I understood that. And then I said, I'm going to commit myself to learn about shame and to stay with shame, right? Because I trusted my teachers. Hmm?
Yeah.
And that was something I knew, and I had to go through all the feelings that included killing the person that was doing this to me, right? Or running away to a foreign planet. I mean, I had all these impulses, but I decided I am engaged in learning how to deal with my shame in a positive way. So I made that commitment to myself, and that helped me. And then I had positive experiences. And so that, again, it was transforming for me. You know, when I found that I could answer in a way that was actually, I admire that way of answering, I was able to do it. Well, it took like 5 years before I was able to do it. But that was such a wonderful thing. I said, this is possible. It's possible to respond creatively.
Okay. If anyone listening I see some people listening. So if anyone has any questions, comments, please post it in the comment section, and then we'll read through that and talk about it. Okay, but this was pretty good. So we'll move forward with that book, and I think it gets more interesting when it comes to the book explores very fundamental questions of why people want to be together. What does it give them? This idea of partnership. And then I found it very interesting to handle even the very fundamental question, why do we even look for a relationship?
Yeah.
What does it give us, right? And then what happens? How does shame play a role in that? So,
well, I am so delighted to have these conversations with you and on those who join, because if we had, but first of all, because it's interesting and it gives me a lot of joy.
okay.
And that's one thing I love in this life, is to have more joy and interest in my life. And so it gives me, it engages all my system, the pain system, because I feel no pain.
Okay.
The cognitive thinking, because I have to think, right? And the affect thinking, the affect system, because I'm enjoying this stuff. So I really thank you, Lila Smaranadas or Lubit.
All right. So next week I won't be here. The week after that would be January 1st. I am not sure what will happen on that day either.
Okay, but you let your people know, right?
Yes. Well, we as of now, we'll put up a message. Actually, it goes from your Facebook, so you can put up a message.
I can put up a message. Okay. So you let me know, and I'll put up a message. And also, the next 2 Sundays after that, I'm going to be in India. What time is India? At 11 o'clock in the morning here.
11 o'clock in the morning is 9:30 p.m. 9:30 in the night.
Does it work, Facebook from India?
It depends
I don't know what to say, but we could try it.
Yeah, okay. So next week I'm not here. January 1st we are not sure. And then next week is January 8th. Then you will be in India.
I'll be in India the 8th and the 15th.
And the 15th. Okay, so we'll try on 8th.
We'll try, and if not, we'll leave it for the 20-something.
Yep.
Okay, have great holidays
All right.
and much enjoyment and love. Hari Bol.